Good evening. How is everyone tonight? Day one of the Gerson therapy nearly done. So it's been interesting having to go to the toilet a lot, obviously, because you're drinking a lot of juice all day. And then I bought far too much vegetable and far too many potatoes because I am never going to be able to eat them all. Because you forget when you're drinking that amount of juice, you're quite simply not hungry. Anyway, we're on tonight to talk about weight loss and why do some people find it so difficult and what is actually going on. Hi, Craig. So feel free to put your questions into the box and ask me anything. I'm just going to start talking about the basic understanding of how the body metabolizes food. Now, we now know, I think most people in the 21st century understand about the gut biome. Hi, Morag. The gut biome is very important. Hi there. Hi, Gail. Hi, Sean. The gut biome is very important because different bodies need... Hi, Lorna. Different bodies need different foods in order to thrive. And when our gut biome and our enzymes become depleted, we can store weight, we can become tired, we can become bloated, and we can actually store weight. And then we can actually eventually become sick because a complete and utter lack of understanding about what the body is and how to work the body. It blows me away that we're still working from such old-fashioned, out-of-date paradigms of what the body is. Anyway, let's get to it. What diet is right for you? Now, here's the thing that people don't like to know is there's thousands of different ways to eat that will help you get to your desired weight. Hi, Mary. And why would we start to store weight? Well, there's a variety of reasons. And it's nothing to do, most of them have got absolutely nothing to do with greed, gluttony, although obviously sometimes we store weight because we eat too much. But what's the reasons behind that? Well, in the modern world, the food... They've basically changed the food from food into processed stuff. So the bottom line is the body is not getting the nutrition that it needs. So when the body's like, I'm hungry, it's not hungry for crap, it's hungry for nutrients. So our food is depleted in nutrition because obviously we've poisoned the topsoil as well. So we're not getting our macro and our micronutrients from the soil the same way as we used to. We know that a carrot's got like 30 to 40% of the nutrition it used to have. So the body, we're thinking we're hungry when in actual fact, very often we're dehydrated and we're completely lacking in nutrition. Then you put the glyphosate and the genetically modified foods and the processed crap in, which basically can perforate the gut. And when the gut is getting perforated, particles get into the bloodstream and we start to have symptoms that make us tired. And guess what happens when you're tired? You don't move. So all of these reasons, and then you go on to the more traumatic emotional stuff that has happened to a lot of us, and not me, but a lot of people in their childhood. So a coating of body fat can be like a protection. So there's lots of different reasons why we gain and store weight. But primarily what's happening now is a total lack of understanding of your macros. So your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. So there's a train of thought that says you only get a certain amount of enzymes to last you your whole life. So say for example, and we know from Peter D'Adamo's work that blood group O has more protein and fat enzymes than carbohydrates, and blood group A has more carbohydrates. We have the enzymes to break down the food for that type. But that's just one angle. And this is the big problem with diets. is everybody's looking at one angle, and there's much more to take into consideration when you embark on a healing diet or just a diet to lose weight. So when you become very compromised in the gut, so there's not enough enzymes in there, and Nicholas Gonzalez Healing Protocols primarily works on enzymes, which is basically the workers, the little worker ants that help break down the food and take things to all the right places. So if we run out of them, this microbiome, we are in trouble, because basically the body can't function eventually over a period of time. So we have to look at what state is the gut in, because if your gut is in a very compromised state, which a lot of people's is, huge rise in IBS and Crohn's disease and esophageal and reflux issues. So if your body is really struggling like that, and you put in what normally would be considered a healthy food, you can still react to it. And that's what's happened with these allergies. We are becoming so sensitized because the gut is perforated and there's fungus and bacteria and God knows what all in there that's not meant to be in there, that's completely out of balance. So there's two things we can really do. Well, there's actually more than two things, but we're talking about food tonight. Food that is putting in your pre and probiotic foods. And Janice Klein obviously is a great advocate of how you can ferment and put more the good guys back in. And then there's also taking things out. Now, whatever diet, if you genuinely want to lose weight, this is critical information. I need you to listen to this part. You need to understand the percentages of your proteins and your fats and your carbohydrates. And I'll explain in a second. Now, whatever diet or way of eating you choose, I'll tell you what's not in any of them: processed sugar and processed carbohydrates and processed meats. So we know that I cured myself of celiac disease. Good for you. Yeah, so we know that it doesn't, so you know that these foods have got to go out for a period of time until you heal yourself. Heal the gut, get the bacteria all in balance, replenish your enzyme bank, and all the things that we know that make a happy gut that will make it much easier for you. And obviously getting rid of all the heavy toxicity from glyphosate and genetically modified foods, because that also adds to the storage. Because what happens when the body can't break things down, it just makes a cell and it just stores it. So it's pretty genius when you think about it. So, but what back in the day, if you gained weight, or if you're in Africa in an indigenous tribe where you gained weight, it's just stored energy. So if their food is short, you can live off the stored energy. So it's a genius system that we in the West have really completely lost touch with the genius of the body, and we just judge it and look at it because it doesn't look the way we want. And I know I did that, my fair share of that with this body. So understanding, getting the crap out is definitely a part. I can't find your live cast. Let me just send this. Yeah, sorry. Somebody was looking for their live. So we need to get the rubbish out, okay? And if you have a sweet tooth, or if you think you have a sweet tooth because it's your microbiome, you've been feeding the wee sugar eaters, and of course they want more, they want more, they want more. So you need to look at the language that you use to describe your behaviours, your habits, and your programming. Very often we learn a lot of our, and I don't know so much about men because I tend to work primarily with women, or I did in the gym. They copy their mother's habits. So if your mum was a yo-yo dieter, it's very common that you picked that up. So we need to get away from the yo-yo dieting thing because we know that doesn't work. So let's smash some of the dieting myths. Crash diets don't work. Well, statistically, that is actually not true. Crash diets do work, so I can highly recommend Michael Mosley's book, Fast 800, where you go down to 800 calories a day and you stay down there, which basically puts a lot of us into ketosis, and then you get a dramatic weight loss, and guess what happens? You feel amazing and you're much more likely to continue. So that is one way to do it, and buy that book. And Michael Mosley has got a brilliant website. I think he's even got his website's fast800.com. But he's also did the 5-2, intermittent fasting. Absolutely brilliant. If you want to lose weight, intermittent fast. But here is the thing. You need to be honest. Not this, like, oh yeah, I do it. Do you? Do you really? Do you actually do it? Not put a single thing in your mouth in that fasting time? Or do you just think the wee things that you're having at night don't really count? I don't know if you lie or not, but I know that a lot of people lie about what they're putting in their bodies. So write it down. Get a journal out. The time that you put the first calorie into your mouth in the morning and the last calorie at night. Remember, with intermittent fasting, the golden rule is no food 3 hours before you go to bed. And that gives your body the time to digest the food, and then when you go to sleep, the body's not having to digest. The body is sleeping and restoring and healing and doing all the stuff it's meant to do. Okay, because you've not interfered in a very intelligent process. So, that's 2 ways to do it. Fast 800, that you can get your calories down to 800 a day. And that might be tricky for some people. That's why I'm going to give you a variety of different ways to lose weight, and you take the one that you think I can do. So you take your calories right down, and of course you lose weight. So, or you can do the intermittent fasting where you're not quite so strict in your food, although if you've got a lot of weight to lose, you want to be eating a really fresh, healthy diet. And again, start from maybe 12, 14, 10, or it doesn't have to be in twos, but that's normally the way we talk about it. You can do 18, 6, 16, 8, 15, 7, what is it? Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, Barbara's yeah, exactly. Intermittent fasting, I think, is one of the easiest ways to do it, because then you're not saying to yourself, I can't have this, I can't have that. You're just saying, yeah, you can, but you can have it in here. So, and that fasting time gives the body, because all really, when you think about it, you're talking about is give the body the peace to metabolize and restore and do all the things it needs to do. The body will drop what it doesn't need as soon as you get it into that position, get it and allow it to do what it needs to do. So intermittent fasting, again, can't recommend it highly enough. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, and I mean like maybe over 3 stone, 4 stone, and you really like to drop down even a stone, then the ketogenic diet. Because let me explain to you about the macros. When you want to lose weight, you either have to take your calories right down, or you can, with the ketogenic, you can create ketosis while you're still eating. So you can put the body into a fasting state while still eating primarily fat, right? So this, you know, isn't it maybe the easiest option for some people? It totally depends where you're at right now and what you like to eat. Because here's the thing, if you don't, there's all these ways work, that you need to find a way that you think, I can do that, and I can do it for months, right? Oh, somebody's trying to call me. You have to commit and decide to the way of eating that's going to work for you, and then just bloody well get on with it. And we'll look at the emotional side of it as well before I finish. So with the ketogenic, now here's the really critically important part. A lot of us have got metabolic syndrome, which is insulin resistance. And what happens then is it becomes a very, very finite balance of carbohydrate and proteins and fat, because we now understand that some people will turn protein into glucose. So too much protein can be as bad as too much carbohydrate. So you have to really up your fat. So if you are having, let me give you an example, 50% fat and 25% protein and 25% carbohydrate, and you're not getting a result. If your bite point, and this work comes from Professor Tim Noakes, and my friend Donald O'Neill, he did a few documentaries on this. So if your bite point for carbohydrate is 22%, and you're eating 25%, you're not going to get a result, right? So if you've been struggling and trying to cut down and your body is just simply not dropping the weight, it's because your carbohydrates are too high. It is that simple. And even if you think you've cut them, if you've got insulin resistance, you need to cut them way, 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 way down and get your fat up. And this can be challenging. I've done this because when I was menopausal, I had this big belly that stuck out, and I went on the ketogenic diet, and it wasn't my favourite diet because obviously it was changed. There wasn't a lot of vegetables, a few veggies that grow above the ground. But you know, when I did this when I was in Malta, and I was living on vegetables, loads and loads of fresh veggies. So it was really challenging for me to cut the veg down and put the meat and the fat up. And particularly if you don't want to take a lot of dairy, if you're intolerant to dairy. But if you do it, you will literally, as Tim Noakes calls it, drop off the cliff. Your body fat, you go into ketosis, and the body starts burning fat instead of burning glucose. So you've switched over to a different fuel source simply by understanding how little carbohydrate you can now tolerate. So, but you can also do that by fasting. You can also intermittent fasting, and by dropping your calories right down to below 800 or below. And you can also do it by putting your fat right up. So which actually means, and the thing about the ketogenic diet is when you do it properly, is that you will not be hungry at all. Intermittent fasting will just become easy because sometimes when I was actually feeling sick because I was like, there was so much fat, it took me a wee while to get over that, and I just didn't want to eat. So, and then I was ripped, because what happens again in the ketogenic diet is the muscle comes up and the fat goes down. So your body shape will change quite dramatically. But like all of these ways to lose weight, there's a price to pay, if you like. But you have to really go, do I want this enough? And then you have to understand how your body works. And if you're not losing weight, it's because you're having too much carbohydrate or too many calories, or you're cheating in your intermittent fasting time. These 3 ways to lose weight all work. But you have to be 100% honest with yourself. So I always recommend, I'm happy to look at anybody's food journal, because I'll see in a nanosecond what the problem is. Far too many grains for some people, usually. Still not wanting to give up bread or whatever it is, the thing that they love. Bread is a biggie. I'm eating a lot of potatoes just now, which is really interesting. And potatoes work well if you take fat out the equation, but they don't work well if you've got fat in the equation. So if you go on a ketogenic diet, you'll not be having potatoes. So what you have to look at, and then there's paleo, which is really powerful for people, but there's no dairy in paleo. But you'll have a lot of vegetables and good quality protein. So, but you have to choose one way, and then you have to get your shopping in. You have to do what I did. You have to go and buy all the stuff you need, and you have to be 100% organised. Because as Hippocrates said, let food be your medicine. Food will heal you. You eat the right food, you're going to heal, you're going to lose weight, the body will rebalance. It cannot be any other way. Mother Nature has given us everything that we need. But oh no, we want to twist it and turn it and make it, but I'll have a bit of this and a bit of that. Which brings me to alcohol. Alcohol gets a bad rap because it's the curse of everything, is according to everybody. Don't drink when you're healing or when you're losing weight. And in actual fact, you can drink alcohol when you're losing weight. You can even drink alcohol when you're on the ketogenic diet. But we don't recommend that you do. Why? Because as soon as you drink, all your willpower goes out the window. And it doesn't matter so much, and you lose your focus. So it is so, so important when you decide, I'm going to do this, and it's, again, joining a group or getting a few of your pals to do it with you. And then you can share the experience. I'm sharing this Gerson experience with one of my clients because it just helps to buddy up and to stay on track. Because what happens is, if you are cheating yourself, nobody else, get your diary out and write it down exactly. And then if you are not losing weight, you send it to me and I will 100% be able to tell you how to adjust it. And what can happen a lot is people don't eat enough vegetables. Very often that's the case. So if you are on the paleo diet, one of the best ways of burning calories is eating, because the body has to use 80% of its daily energy to eat. So in actual fact, having it depends what you eat though. You know, if you have a lot of really good diverse diet, high in fibre, high in nutrients, a lot of it raw if you can stand raw, if you've got a good digestive system, a lot of it live, you can eat loads of food. And you will stay the same weight. But if you are insulin resistant, if you have metabolic, and they used to say, oh, you know, I've not got a good metabolism, and it was kind of poo-hooed for a while. But we know now that it is that. There's a metabolic disease, and it's just simply that you can't eat very much carbohydrate. But you can retrain the body. And again, we've got this time in our for whatever reason, it's about 2 years. So it's not that you can never have any carbohydrate before or never have another bit of bread before. Again, it's that you understand. And this is a really, really finite measurement, because when they put children that fit on a ketogenic diet, if that kid has one cheat, they'll fit. So that's how finite the measurements have to be. So if you're going to do keto, you have to be prepared to, if you're not, I mean, what I did was I just cut the carbohydrate right down. I didn't weigh anything, I'll be honest. I'm not good with the details, but I cut the carbohydrate and I put the fat away up. But to do it properly, if you want to understand what your bite point is for carbohydrate, you can get the keto meter thing, and you can get the sticks to make sure that you're in ketosis. Because just think about it, if you're in ketosis, you're burning fat. It's that simple. And if you've got a lot of fat you want out of the body, get yourself into ketosis by fasting, intermittent fasting, dropping the calories right down, or going keto or paleo. Now, if you're young, the chances are that you won't have to cut your carbohydrate too far down. If you're old like me, and if you're going through the menopausal age, and it seems to happen to men as well, but it's just a degeneration thing again, because we're not realising we have to keep regenerating. Then the chances are that you're going to have to take your carbohydrate down significantly to get to that bite point. And you'll know that you're on it because you'll feel it. You'll feel clear, you'll feel lightheaded, you'll feel clear-headed, you'll feel focused, because you're burning on that high-octane fuel. Now, I see some people have got questions. Fire them at me, because can you have kefir on a keto diet? Well, potentially you could. It's all about deciding whether that's something you would want to have as part of your carbohydrate. You need to, it's not that you can't have carbohydrate. So say you had, what I did, I had MCT oil, so I just put that in everything. Put that in soup. You can have bone broth, put it in gravy, put it on in juice you can have, so you can bump the fat up. So I used that, and I just wouldn't even have dreamt of anything like kombucha, because why would you when you're trying to get your fat up and your carbohydrate down? But it's not to say you can't, because you could, but that would take your percentage up. So, and also when you go into ketosis, your gut biome starts to work properly. You burn up the body, because you're literally getting the same effect as fasting. So the body starts to burn up all the crap. So you don't need to worry about that in that specific time if you're just doing it for weight loss. Because remember what I always say, there's two different diets. There's the healing diet or the weight loss diet, and then there's the maintenance diet. So you could put your kombucha back in if you were going keto. But you can have kombucha on other ways of eating. As I say, there's a myriad of different ways to eat. What you have to decide is, what can I do? Which one of these ways of eating could I sustain and maintain without feeling that I'm having to give up all the things I love, and that I'm having to, that I'm never going to be able to do it long enough for the body to respond, and that I'll never be able to maintain the weight when I get it off. You will. All of that stuff is just rubbish, because you've never ever actually understood how your body works and what happens when you put stuff in there, and how to get it to do the things that you want it to do, because nobody's ever taught us this, really. And everybody's always want to sell a book, sell an idea. This is the way to lose weight. This is the way to... All these ways work. We know that. There's lots of really great ways to eat out there. But you need to find the one that you can enjoy. Let's face it, we're all living in these crazy times. We're all stressed enough. You want to get excited and you want to think, yeah, I could do that. And, you know, even when it goes to paleo, there's lots of different things that you can do to, if you are, if you like sweet things and desserts, there's lots of really healthy, fibre-filled, fat-filled desserts that you can have, you know, on these food plans, but you just need to make them yourself. Or, you know, we used to be lucky in Malta, we had somebody to make them for us. But I'm sure there's places, particularly if you live in the city, where you can get amazing raw food cakes and stuff. So, you know, the idea, I need to give up all these things that I love and poor me, all of that, it's rubbish. There's so much incredible information now, and there's so many beautiful things that we can make that are healthy and that will feed the good biome and that will help us stay in fasting state if that's what we need to do for a while. So let me see what questions, where can I find out more about what to eat intermittent fasting, as it does work for me? Well, yeah, basically, if you're intermittent fasting, you know, you can have a really big breakfast of eggs and tomatoes and mushrooms and whatever, even bacon, whatever you want in there, depending whether you're a vegan or vegetarian or whatever. You can have, like, make your own yogurt, make delicious live yogurt and have lots of berries and nuts and seeds. These are the kind of foods that are going to fill you up. And again, with the yogurt, I would put some MCT oil in there to fatten it up. And then just having, you know, it's vegetables, lots of vegetables and proteins. You can have whatever you want, fish, all of that food, as much of that. When you eat really well, you'll not be hungry. And you're not intermittent fasting if you're snacking at night. You're just not. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people are making. And, you know, that's why you need to write it down and be honest with yourself. And when we have created these bad habits, as a lot of us have done through lockdown, let's face it, I noticed as soon as I started intermittent fasting, that was the thing that I was, it was like eating at night, which is not really something, because normally living in Malta, I would have my dinner later at night, and so you wouldn't be snacking. But that's boredom. Watching a screen stimulates a dopamine release, causes you to crave carbohydrate. So you have to work out a way that when I tell you what else is really good, not everybody would maybe go along with this, not all nutritionists, but it really works for switching off your hunger, is a bulletproof coffee. So you can have that like at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Obviously I can have coffee at night, a lot of people can't, or you can have that for your brunch, and it just fills you right up. As soon as you put a lot of fat in, you are not hungry. It switches off your satiety, so it's a really powerful way to do it. So let's narrow it back down. How can you lose weight? You can go in the ketogenic and get your fat up and get your carbs right down till you've got over the cliff and the weight falls off when you go into ketosis. And if you've got a lot of weight to lose, I would highly recommend looking at that. You've got Fast 800, which is Michael Mosley, loads of recipes where you just really slash your calories, and you're going to go into a fasting state when you do that. Intermittent fasting, where you take all your food within between a 6 and 10 hour window, depending on how much weight you want to lose. But think about doing this for months, not just for a week or 2 weeks. You need to be in this for the long haul and be committed to it, and buddy up with somebody else if you can. There's paleo as well, no dairy, and that works well for blood group O's. So again, you're looking at, you know, just loads of healthy veggies and quality proteins. It really isn't rocket science, but what has to come out, if you're blood group A or B, you can tolerate grains way better, but again, make sure that they're the ancient grains and not this new stuff that really our body just cannot. It's full of gluten and glyphosate, and the body just doesn't know what to do with it, and it perforates our intestines, so you need to get away from that. If you are on a juice fast, is another great way to kickstart your your weight loss journey. Just go on juice only for 3, 5, 7 days, whatever you can manage. If you're new to fasting, fasting is very, very empowering, and it's not as difficult as you maybe think it is if you're really hooked on your food stories. And what we'll do is we'll look at how to unhook from all your food stories and what you think you are, what you've told yourself because you've been trying so hard for so long and nothing's worked. But it's just because you didn't understand your percentages. Once you understand your percentages, then you're off and running. And the one thing is you just do not want to be miserable doing this. You can do it slowly, you can do it fast. It's completely up to you. Again, statistically, we know people that lose a lot of weight quickly are more likely to stick to it, and I think that makes perfect sense. You get empowered then, you understand that you can do it. Let me see what else. Any more questions? What if you have adrenal fatigue? Is it absolutely? Yeah. If you have adrenal fatigue, then it's maybe even more important. You know, I'm a big advocate of juice, obviously. I would not, for adrenal fatigue, I would not just look at the food for anything, for any disease. I would not just look at the food. I would look at stress levels as well, and sleep pattern, and habits, and, you know, lifestyle. We all know. I know it's a pain in the arse having to change your lifestyle, but we do. But definitely stress. What should we be careful with if you don't have a gallbladder? Well, yeah, you definitely wouldn't do the ketogenic. You would maybe, you know, how much weight do you want to lose? What's MCT oil? MCT oil is, well, you can Google this Monday. MCT oil, bulletproof coffee. MCT oil is, it's triple coconut oil concentrate, so it's very high in triglycerides, it's very high in fat. So it's really handy to add in. A bulletproof coffee has got butter, MCT oil, and quite often you can put cream in it as well, and blend that up. Very full of fat and very, very delicious. I don't even want to talk about it. 4 stone. Yeah. So I would, me personally, I'm blood group O. I would go straight on the keto if I had 4 stone to lose, because I think the thing about keto is it means you can eat. You can always eat. And you will absolutely switch off if you're doing it properly, you will not be hungry. I can absolutely guarantee you that. But you might have to stick to it, for a few days, so that you can, till you get into the way of it. And the other thing I need to point out is, remember, it's change. If you're going to ask the body to change, your mind's going to come in and get in the way. I've got a headache. I've got this. I've got that. I can't do that. I'm going to Glasgow for the day. That's the big belter of excuse that people say from here. Can you clarify more about what you shouldn't eat when doing intermittent fasting, please? It's the same deal. You shouldn't eat the processed meats, carbohydrates, and processed sugars. Just cut all the crap out. It really is insultingly simple, healthy eating. Just eat whole foods the way they were given to us from Mother Nature. What else? Sorry, I'm just trying to get through. Yeah, if you're blood group O, you don't digest grains. Apart from Essen bread is one thing that you can eat. But again, you can't just look at the food. You have to look at the amount of movement, the amount of exercise you're doing, because if you've got a really healthy gut biome, really diverse, you can put things in there that other people can't. And if you're maybe doing a lot of exercise and, doing a lot of stuff, then the body, and a lot of conscious breathing, that's really racks up, gets the digestive fires going, and that helps the body to digest. Do you think smoothies are a good way to get whole foods into that? I'm not a big fan of smoothies, to be honest. Chew your food. I think It's a great way to sneak veggies in for kids. You know, if they won't eat veggies, you can put, you know, you can blend like apple juice or an orange and put some spinach in there, and, you know, sneak carrots and stuff like that in. So, but smoothies for adults, unless you're sick, no, I would just be eating the fruit and the veg, because ultimately, you know, the thing about juicing is, you can, if you saw that box of carrots and stuff that I'm going to be putting through the body, there's no way I could eat that. No way on earth. And the reason that you juice it is you're taking all the fibre out so that you can just dump in all the live enzymes. Dump, dump, dump. And as I do that hourly, all day, every day for weeks and weeks, what happens is it washes all the crap out the cells, and it causes, the enzymes cause a cellular contraction. And then, so it dumps the toxins, dumps. And one of my friends who did the Gerson therapy said that she had a full emotional meltdown. And I have seen that with lots of, we used to run juice detox from our gym, and I have done loads on myself. So I know you can get very emotional when you detox, because you think not just is there toxicity in the cell, there's trapped emotions in there as well. So as soon as you put the juice in, the cells start to expand, and obviously information comes out, and that information can be coming from your past, and you can end up bawling your eyes out and you don't even really understand why. So it's really important to know the body, you know, the cells are part of your body. You know, you're letting go of part of the body. So it's quite a process. So what we're really looking at is, you know, the emotional side as well. If you are really stressed, and, you know, and if horrible things have happened in your childhood, and you're, you know, the cells are really contracted and toxic, it can be very, very challenging to be brave enough to let go. So you dump a whole ton of juice in there on a daily basis. These cells have got no option but to expand and lighten. So expect emotions to come up. And when you can understand how to work the body in terms of the percentages of the macros, then you can go into ketosis while you're eating, and that's what the ketogenic allows us to do. Get the same results as fasting, but with eating the right amount of fat. So then you can be set free from that trap. And a lot of people, when they understand that, it's just like the biggest gift, because nobody's ever explained it to them before. That's how it works, because you've become insulin resistant. And because a lot of kids now are getting a crap diet, they're insulin resistant far, far earlier than previous generations, because their bodies having to work far harder to try and, you know, basically break down the food into the digestive system, so that the worker ants can get to it, deliver things where they're meant to go, and excrete the rest. If you're not putting real food into your children's bodies and into your own bodies, you will deplete your digestive system. It's that simple. We have the science to prove that categorically now. So healthy eating is not a fad, hippie thing. Healthy eating is an absolute necessity if you want to stay well. And within that, when you go in the maintenance diet, when you're healed and you're the right weight, you can absolutely work with that. And of course, you can have a little bit of what you love, will not do you any harm. But until you get there, you need to be focused, full focused on getting this gut happy and healthy, getting onto your high octane fuel, burning that, and your brain works clearly. And obviously what we're doing all week is the EFT and breathing challenge. Breathing really helps to digest the food, really using the energy centres and the bellow breath to help massage these organs and give them the love they deserve for all the stuff that we shoved down there that was never meant to go down there. And the body's doing its best. And when you get bloating, fatigue, brain fog, it's telling you right away it's out of balance, and you will start to degenerate. And remember, we're all about regeneration now. We know how to regenerate. So, has anybody got any questions before I quit for the night? Is everything crystal clear? You make the plan, you decide what you're going to do, you shop. If you've got any questions, ask me. If you want me to look over your food journal, send it to me. I'm happy to do that. Write down everything that you eat and drink. If you really, really don't understand your body, write everything down that you eat and drink. I think somebody asked you, can you drink wine? Did they? I am intermittent fasting and have a lot of weight to lose. Should I change? No, Susan, I would just keep going. If it's working, don't try and fix it. Is keto if you slightly is? Yes, absolutely. Keto's great for cholesterol. Don't fear fat. So with a combination of keto and intermittent fast. Yes, keto. When you go on keto, you will automatically intermittent fast because you will absolutely not be hungry. Yes, smoothies I am not a big fan of. That's a lot. Can be a lot of sugar and calories down in a winner. So no, I wouldn't be doing smoothies. And certainly not for weight loss. I need to avoid grains. Yeah, if you're a blood group, well, you need to avoid grains. Can you drink water? Yeah, yes, that will be fine. Water and lemon juice during the fast time, yeah. I mean, they say strictly not a calorie, but I mean, let's face it, lemons not really get anything in it. And the other thing is, it's not just the calorie. It's bicarbonate of soda can be really good for the gut. But it's also about when you put, would you shower with lemon juice and water? You know, when you're cleaning the body out, you want to just have clear water, preferably from a spring or through a distiller if you can, to get all the shite out of it, so that the body recognising and it can just clean. Because the more, when we're putting things in, we want a diverse, spread out, colourful diet. But everything that's in that will be from nature, so the body will recognise it. But when you start to put things in that the body has to then, you know, it gets complicated and sending different signals in. When you're cleansing, you just want clean water. That's all you want, without anything in it. Let the body just have that internal shower. Okay. I think have I answered all the questions? Thanks, Tracy. Yeah, good for you, Izzy. That's great. Intermittent was to alkalise. Intention was to alkalise the body. Yeah, alkalise the body with vegetables. That's the alkaline diet. Veggies and fruit. And, you know, let me just, before I finish, talk about fruit, because fruit, you know, can get a bad rap as well, because a lot of people, that's what happens with smoothies. Oh, I had a smoothie and basically what you had was 2 apples and an orange, and it's just tons of fruit sugar, and it's not a good show, certainly when you want to lose weight. Yes, I would recommend a total fast day, Monty. So fruit, sugar, fruit, of course, eat the whole fruits. Always eat your fruits if you can. You can also use a bit of an apple or a bit of lemon or a bit of a lime or an orange to make your vegetable drink doable. I mean, I can drink veggies without any fruit in it because I've been drinking it for years. But if you're taking yourself off a really crap diet, let me just say it as it is, full of, you know, additives and colourings and salts, etc., you might think vegetable juice tastes disgusting. I have seen that in our gym. People come and go, that is disgusting. And Xander and I would taste it and we would go, that's delicious. But if you're going from really processed foods to vegetable juice, you might find that hard. So you can use fruits to help you get the veggies down, and that's a good idea, because you're changing your palate and you're changing your gut biome. Remember, that's the thing. Are you adding in mineral broth, tea, or just sticking? No, I'm doing the Gerson, Leslie. So there's no there's vegetable broth, and the only additive is potassium. I'm taking potassium. Okay, I think that's me covered everything for you guys. If you've got any questions, if you need any help, first things first, don't lie to yourself. Get a journal out and write down everything you're putting into your body. If you need me to look over your journal, if you're like that, I'm eating this perfect diet, I'm not losing weight, send me your food journal and I'll have a look over it for you. Thanks, Laura. And choose a way to eat that you feel you can do, that you can be successful with. And choose, if you know, likes of the paleo and the keto, you're not going to be hungry in these. And also it's coming into spring now, so it's a good time to think about this. There's going to be lots more fruit and veg around, and we're going to get out at nights. We're going to be a lot more active, because a lot of it's going to be distracting yourself from just sitting in front, and I'm talking about me here, sitting in front of Netflix at night. We're going to be able to get out and do things, and for that 3 hours before bed, moving, walking, dancing, going into the forest, whatever, is all a thing. Okay, so I hope you got something from that, learned something. And as I say, if you get any questions, just ping it onto the feed and I will